welcome to another lit episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado, joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalkup over there, Big Sky Country, Texas, giving an old hook of horns, and just send some prayers to his Cowboys that they find a decent quarterback this season. And, maybe we'll see. Maybe Dak Prescott might do it, but I'm rocking my new Broncos jersey. I'll be at the game on Saturday, so preseason opener. It's really awesome. Big shout out to my brother for taking me, and it's really awesome, that we could do these kind of shows. And we have some special treat for you. Sounds like the electrical comedy department is going to be taking a big jump tonight. So, pretty awesome. We already got David Englehart. What's up, man?
Hey, David.
What's up, David Englehart, man? The Peace Master. David Englehart has the Electrical Wizardry page, and I just want to let you know too, David. It sounds like they're taking that EBSE episode up to old NFPA to show them some things. So that's pretty cool. Maybe they might have an episode with King James in there. I don't know. Never know. But maybe they just like my episode so good that they're gonna show it off to NFPA. But looks like Shark Week continues. Daniel just grabbing the victory from you last week.
That's okay.
Oh man, you were so close. Oh man.
I did pretty good on that. It always seems like I actually knew the answer. He just got it before me. So,
yeah, that's
okay.
true. And I did. You guys both got one right that I got wrong with that. Clark Kent's middle name is Joseph. You were right.
So.
You knew it. And actually, Daniel knew it too. So I was wrong on that one, but no big deal. Looks like King James is popping up the link up there to the new Stalkups 2026 Illustrated Code Change book.
Let me say this. We've already had a couple have already purchased. We just went through. We did a new final edit on it and added some stuff, some historical facts, and we did a lot to it. And I just finished chapter 8. I'm about to load the new PDF up on there, and there was some sections that we missed that they changed. And it was something simple like additional services is now, instead of 230.2, it's moved, I think, to 230.4. Just little things like that we knew in the previous. They moved some sections around, so we went back, we rechecked everything to make sure it's done. All we're waiting now is on the Standards Council, and I'll update. That's one of the reasons.
Oh man! Dude, that's gonna be fighting words. Tonight's easy though.
Tonight's gonna be fun. Yeah.
We
We got some stuff there. I put together a presentation on this. Now, we're not even doing a myth of the week or top of the week. We're only gonna be on this. And
dude, I brought the music, Daniel. I brought the music. I had to bring the music for Daniel.
I coined a new term because they got a group over there, and this is where it come from. We're going to go through all this night. The ECD boys, and I coined a new term for them. I call them the Electrical Comedy Department.
That's true.
The ECD boys.
That's true.
So that's the name of the group, ECD boys. So it's really funny because there's some things I'm going to bring up about that also. But I don't want to go too much into it because when Bill brought it to my attention, I said, "That's what we're doing Thursday." I said, "I can't believe they're actually going to do this." So
I sent some different videos to some of the guys out there to show them. There's this bearded inspector on TikTok, Jesse Dubé. He's complaining about it. He submitted public comments to try to say I violated the code or something, or I violated the NFPA process, which is fine. That's cool, but I did that on purpose because I thought it was going to be rejected. And
For one,
he's trying to say
you cannot violate the NEC process. Everybody has the right to submit a public input.
Yeah.
There's no violation there at all. And for them to
Yeah.
say the things that they're saying is beyond the pale. What they're saying, it just goes to show the double standard that's taking place. But
So,
we're gonna have some fun tonight.
I wanna kick it off with Paul Abernathy. He's flying off the handle. He's mad. He mentions your name. He mentions my name, and he's madder than hell. So I just want everyone to hear. This is hilarious. Like, these are the guys that are supposed to be. They're calling themselves educators, but I just want you to hear this. Let me know if you want me to stop and make any comments.
I know the rules.
I want you to have a right to defend yourself. So here we go.
What up, everybody? Welcome to a impromptu episode of Coffee Hour with Paul. Welcome to the stream. Those are the first time you've ever been here. You're going to get shocked tonight. I am not like the normal educator, and so it's going to get real tonight. So I'm excited to kind of do this, and again, bear with me, because if I lose this connection to my phone, I just have to be patient. This is live. For those that ask, it is 100% live. Again, my name is Paul Abernathy. If you have no idea who I am, Google me for a minute. You'll get the good with the bad. I don't care either way. Okay, I never worried about hurting people's feelings, getting their butt hurt. I don't really care what people say about me. I really don't care. What I care about is teaching electricians, ones that are willing to learn. Now, I don't always say I'm always right, or I'm just doing an effort in giving what I can back. And if people want to learn from me, that's fine. If people do not, they can block me, they can unsubscribe to me, they can stop following me, they can go follow other people, that type of thing. Okay? So, interesting. So, some people will say, Paul, did somebody touch a nerve? No nerve. No nerve. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of crap tonight. And I want to do this because I embarked on a little experiment on TikTok. And I know, probably the stupidest platform out there with probably, let me not go there yet. So what the effort was is, sometimes you want to, instill your faith. Because, let me put this out there first. I know. Here's what I'm going to hear. You ready? Here's what I'm going to hear. Paul, you can't do it anymore. Paul, you're just old. Paul, you probably never did it. Paul, you probably never had the tools in your hand. God, what is it? All those that it can inspect can't do. Those that educate never did it. God, what else is there? You probably didn't sit for your exam. You probably had a grandfather because you're old as Moses. God.
All right, so this one's for me. I do agree with David. There's certain things about TikTok I don't like. I do like it for like social stuff, but I don't like it for like electrical teaching or electrical posts.
Nope.
But the thing that's funny is, so Paul's sitting there saying that everyone's gonna say this about him, but he's out there saying this about you. He's out there saying the same thing, like, oh, King James got his exam gifted to him. You remember a few weeks ago we did the audio where he's saying, oh, he didn't sit on any committees and all that stuff,
Prove that wrong.
And it's just funny that he's doing the same exact, he already did the same exact thing he's worried about people doing to him,
That's right.
And
those who cry the loudest are the ones that are usually doing it.
Yeah, but we'll keep continuing. This is about 12 to 13 minutes. We'll just
what else could it be? A whole bunch of shit that I hear from these, quote, younger electricians. I'm going to put air quotes around that, because I'm not going to lump everybody in that, okay? But it literally, so let me explain something real quick. So I have a TikTok channel. In a matter of a week, it went from, because I don't use it, it went from 2,000 followers to 7,000. Now, to follow me on TikTok, you got to either want to learn code, or I don't know what the reason you would follow me for. I'm not going to show you an install. I'm not going to go out into the field and install a panel. Not going to do it. Had no desire to do it. I'm not going to show you how to pull non-metallic sheet cable through bored holes. I'm not going to do any of that shit. I'm not. And if my language offends you, I'm sorry. There's a button you can leave, and you can click it and get the hell out of here. Okay?
Stop. You know who he sounds like right now?
Who's that?
He sounds like a lot of the Democrat lawmakers and how they're all going out there cussing now. Have you noticed them do that? They had it on a lot of the legacy media and showing them there cussing them. I'm like, that's what it sounds like. Okay, keep going. I just had to bring it up.
I teach electricians. I'm not Mike Holt. I'm not Ryan Jackson. I'm not Phil Simmons. I'm not James Stalcup. I'm Paul Abernathy. I've been teaching for over 30 damn years. This National Electrical Code, this book. Am I the best at it? Probably not. Probably far from it. But I've helped a damn near thousands of people get their license.
So, the thing that's so funny is every time he uses numbers, it's like so far exaggerated. Like, and so it was really funny because I was listening to one of his things where he's talking about the CMECP. And congratulations, David is like CMECP number 16 or something like that. So, David's like the 16th CMECP of the program. And you remember when we had Crystal on?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, is that Paul Abernathy, the guy who mastered his own course that he made up, And it was just really funny. And the thing is, like, I don't want to throw shade on David or anything and his accomplishment, completing the program, because I guess it is kind of a rigorous program. But it's just, I don't know, I just think it's kind of funny, but I'll just keep going.
So, when I embarked on this little TikTok thing, I wanted to, because it's this thing about, everybody kept saying, Jay kept saying, we had a little competition, me and Jay. First it was the first one to 1,000, okay? Then it was to 2,000. Then it was to 3,000. Of course, I think Jay's still back at 3,000. Okay, so this is a short amount of time. So it was part of my experiment with doing this platform. Well, when I started into this platform, I started noticing something. That everybody that commented to something I would post, and I post certain things for a reason, whether it's to get you to think or get you to something.
I agree,
David.
I would read these comments from people. And I'm going to be honest with you, for somebody who went through vocational school, was a business owner early on, worked with my brother who, kind of really is the reason I'm in this industry, introduced me to my mentor, got me into this thing, and I've always taken pride in everything I've done, whether it's pulling cable, installing conductors in raceways, installing, whether it was MC or EMT, it don't make a damn hill of beans, and I get tired of seeing crap comments like that. If you're a true electrician, I mean really, a true electrician, then you don't go on these platforms and go, oh, you're a rope jockey, or you only pull conduit, like you only put in conduit, like you have done everything in your career. I know, there's the supertricians that have done everything. Look, you're an electrician, whether you install non-metallic sheet cable, whether or not you install MI cable, whether or not you install EMT, whether or not you install 6-inch rigid, it doesn't matter. You're an electrician. The problem I have with it is some of the damn comments that we get, and I don't share them all, mind you, so I'm just a little notice to those of you that might follow over on TikTok and come over to hit from that platform. You'll notice on all of my platforms, it is, I have it set where I moderate the comments. Why? because there are trolls out there, right? That's all they do. That's all they want to do. In fact, I don't think they probably ever taught anybody anything, okay? Well, this whack-jacker over there on the Facebooks and stuff like that, what is his name? Bill Schneider, whatever. Frauds. But yet they go on people's stuff and want to post comments. Well, here's a quick reminder to you. You probably don't need to watch my stuff anyway, and if you do and you say something, I'm going to block you anyway. I'm going to delete you anyway. So I'm saving you the trouble because I'm there to teach. I'm not necessarily there for your opinion either. Really, I'm not. I'm beyond that. I'm beyond wanting somebody's opinion. But I'll post something, and if you want to give an opinion, that's fine, as long as it's within the bounds. But I'm going to show you some of the things that we see over on TikTok.
So what's really funny is, like, he comes out and says, I'm a fraud, I've never taught anybody, and all this stuff. But it's like, you know, he doesn't give any proof of how many people he taught. You know, it's like, oh, he just wants to rip me down. You know, and then he's like, oh, I don't care what, you know, I don't need your opinion or anything like that. Oh, well, I thought that we only taught opinion. You know, like so you're going to sit there and rip us down, say we don't teach correctly, but you all of a sudden do. You know, to me, you know.
Do as I say, not as I do.
And that's cool, you know.
Cool.
Dude, I like that, you know. I like that, David, you know, like to have that associated with you. And, you know, you are, like, I would almost say David probably knows the code.
He knows it well, I can tell you, because he's taken the test and I've seen it.
Yeah, and so it's really cool. Like, dude, there's times where David calls me on NFPA questions, like, you know, hey, what's the question on this? And I remember, like, he called me on one, and it was something on swimming pools or something, it might have been on marinas. And the only reason I knew it was because I just watched a podcast about selective coordination for marinas or whatever, you know. So I kind of knew it a little bit, but I really respect everyone in the trade, all of us learning code together, and it's really fun. And I'm just really glad to participate in the process. And I think this is almost over.
Discuss it a little bit.
A few more minutes.
Right? So one of the first ones that I'll do is this one right here. Okay, so this video that was posted on TikTok, this one has over 238,000 posts. Visitors, viewers, in a short amount of time. And there's probably, at the rate it's going to get to 500,000 before, you know, whatever. So in this one, for example, I posted a video, short snippet of a video, showing, okay, cables coming in the back of a cabinet, right? Clearly you can see in this picture that it's a bushing, okay? It's not a connector, and it's not securing these cables to the cabinet. It's just a bushing. So I posted that there because, again, that's what TikTok's all about. You do this little thing called a stitch. Is that what it is? And you show a snippet, and then you comment on it. Well, first of all, it went down a crap storm of comments on that. And it went from, it's perfectly code compliant, which is not.
So the thing that cracks me up about this is exactly what we've been complaining about Ryan Jackson. We've been complaining about all these different guys out there that are sitting there trying to be like code experts, and they're making assumptions. You know, like they're sitting there saying, oh, this is a code violation. Well, you know, oh, well, it's just a bushing. Okay, well, does it comply with all the different parts of that section? You know, he's like, oh, well, it has to comply with all parts of the section. Here, these guys are out there, and you remember we got torched on this one a few weeks ago, where they're like, oh, that's a raceway, not a sleeve. You know, so it doesn't comply with the exception. You know, that was in the electrical comedy group too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I think this is just about that.
Then it went down, Paul, you're just, you're wonderful at parties. I bet you're great at parties.
I bet you he is. I bet.
Bro, it's a violation of 312.5c, whether you like it or not. It is. If your jurisdiction lets you do it, you do you, boo. But it is a violation. Now, For all of those people that posted, and I can show you some of the comments, and I will. For some of you folks that are in there that say that it's okay and the jurisdiction does it and it's okay, that's fine. If the jurisdiction says it's okay and they know and it is a code violation, but they have been made aware of it and they actively tell you it's okay, you keep on and you go. The moment that you think as an electrician that you no longer have any liability for anything that's less than a standard, wake up, Google a little bit. You are held accountable.
Stop right there.
I know you would love that one.
You don't know what the hell you're talking about, Paul. First of all,
yeah.
Let me explain something here. If there's something that is wrong and the inspector's telling you to do it, right then you get a letter from that inspection authority that they told you to do it. That's it. Yep. That takes your responsibility away. I'll guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, nah, just go ahead and do it that way. You know, they don't want to take that responsibility. And I've had that happen with my brother. He's an electrical contractor. It's happened to him like 5 times. I've gone out there. Frank's so proficient at it now. He'll call, ask Dad, or I'll say, no, don't do that. And he'll go, okay. And he'll tell him, I won't get a letter. You're saying that's what I need to do. Well, I'm not doing that. And Frank goes, you're either going to do it or you're going to put it in this way. He said, you cannot tell me to do something. I'm telling you, you're wrong on the code. That's how you handle that.
No, that's a really good comment there, David. David says, I would rather presume than assume. Right. Because to assume would make an ass out of you and me.
That's right.
And that's a good comment. The thing that's funny about this is that I'll take it a step further than you, King James. I've actually wanted to get a letter from the engineer because the inspector was like, well, I'm just going off what the engineer says on here.
Well, that's because you're in a facility. That's different.
Yeah. But I'm saying, okay, the AHJ wants to go with what the engineer thing is, and I'm like, okay, I want an engineer stamp on this.
That's right.
If you're going to do this, I want an engineer stamp on it, and then I'm going to show it to the inspector, and guess what? They didn't put a stamp on it, and it got passed. So
That's right.
You're right, 100%. Paul doesn't know what he's talking about because he's not out there doing it. He doesn't know.
Let's look at the thing at the harbor situation that happened back in, I can't remember where that was, the inner harbor. I'm not sure. Anyway.
So the thing that's funny about this one is the harbor incident was actually a result of 210.8F. So situation similar to 210.8F. But basically what happened was there was something wrong with the pump, and the maintenance guy was like, oh man, we don't need GFCI protection on this. And so he went and he took the GFCI breaker out and he put a regular thermal mag in, right? Well, that's actually a code violation and everything. And this maintenance guy was like, oh yeah, this is just garbage. This code is just garbage. There's no reason that we need to be doing this because, you know, they're just passing this to sell breakers and all this. And that's actually a destructive thing that's happening in our trade. And we need to stop it. We need to have, like, these guys need to be educated that there was technical merit that GFCI was doing its job. There was no reason that he should have changed it out to a regular standard thermal mag. And Bryce Nesbitt mentioned that in our podcast that we did about EBSE because he's like, this is hurting our industry that these guys are giving out misinformation from the top, coming from the code making panel that's not accurate, has no technical merit, and now there's guys that are killing people because they think it's garbage.
One of the TikTok videos where the fountains down here in Houston, an issue. There's tons of them. I posted a couple videos over in TikTok where you're going to be held liable for anything you do as an electrician. Just because an inspector says something's okay, if you want to drink that Kool-Aid and you think just because they say it's okay, yeah, I know what you're trying to do. I get it. You're trying to get the green tag. I get it. But the sheer thought of some of these posts from electricians, it's kind of like the one guy that said to me one time when he was doing some work for me and he said, I can't see it from my house, and I fired his ass on the spot. Because that's not who I want to work for.
Okay, so I thought he was working for you, not you working for him. But all right.
The other thing in these comments people will say is, I never do the minimum. As if it's some kind of crime to do the minimum. If you want to go above minimums, go for it.
So how can you go above the minimum code standard? Like, do you use titanium boxes? Like, what do you do to go above every code minimum? Like, you said this previously. Like, if you say you go above the minimum on all installs, you're a liar.
That's right.
So, I just think it's crazy that he's like, oh, you could go above. It's like, no, you can't. Like, if you go above the minimum, then you exceed the maximum.
Nobody's stopping you. It's between you and your customer. It certainly shouldn't be between the inspector. The inspectors should never, I'll repeat it, never make you do things that are above code. You make that choice to do things above code. I get it. I don't want to argue with the inspector because there'll be retaliation, or I'll have a hard time getting my inspections done in the future. I can tell you what, I never had that issue, and I went over plenty when I was a contractor. And when I was the head of the jurisdiction, I had plenty of people go over my inspectors' heads and come to me. And nobody held anything against them for doing it. Okay? That's just a piss poor inspector if that's the mentality they have. And if you're one of those out there, if you're one of those kind of inspectors out there that make people do more than they need to do, it's choice is theirs, or you're out there making stuff up, you suck. And I hope someday I'm across the courtroom with you in court as an expert witness, because I will do everything I can to take you down. Everything I can. Okay? Because there's no place for that. Just saying. No place for it. Your job is to inspect it. That's it. You got people on TikTok there that are so damn scared of the electrical inspector, literally so scared of the electrical inspector, that they're willing to pass something they know is unsafe as long as, hold on a second, I knew they'd be, as long as they
that
get
was
a
probably
green
my
tag.
comment on
They don't care.
Yeah,
They really, literally, really don't care. Okay? But anyway, let's see here. Some of these comments, let's look real quick. So, okay, so here you see comments, and you'll notice something. I will do follow-ups to a lot of comments. You know, you see the little picture of me. That's when I'm in the studio. I'll do little follow-ups. Those are pretty interesting to watch, because sometimes I just flat out tell somebody. You know, so here you see this, and I'm very active on there. I said I was going to give it a week and be very active and do this.
Wow, a whole week, Paul? That's awesome.
You know what I have to say about this? He's sitting there talking bad about electricians, which is unkind. He fits right in with those ECD boys, just like Jeremy. You know, calling all Texas electricians nothing but glorified ditch diggers. It's
100%.
It's this mentality that they think they're better than everybody else, and him to sit there and say, I hope I see you in court, I'm taking you down. I mean, God, I can't believe he just said those things.
The thing that's so funny is you're an expert witness. You know that you don't care if they're electrical inspector, you don't care if they're a contractor, you don't care if they're a utility, you don't care. Like, you don't want to, like, wish bad on him across the courtroom. Like, you don't care. You don't even know what the situation is. So it's showing his ignorance that he's not a special expert. He's not getting called into court and doing these cases.
I'm literally working on 3 cases right now, and I got another one that just come in. And you know, I bet if he's done any, I bet he ain't done more than 2 or 3. I've done. You know, God, I don't even know how many I've done. I've done so many through my career. But
yo, what up, John,
hey, John,
from the Union? Oh man, John's over at the Union.
You want to get to the?
I think it's almost
so
done.
You see all the comments. Now, these are just comments that I've approved. Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let's do it. You know, I think we got our point across.
Yeah.
I think it was hilarious. I wanted you to hear that part where he said he was like a special expert in court and everything, and it's like to me, that's just a lie. Like, there's no way. I don't, like you said, if he did 2 or whatever, cool, good for you, whatever. But I guarantee he didn't sue a contractor, and I guarantee he didn't sue AHJ, because they're following the National Electric Code, and to me, that's just ridiculous that they're gonna sit there and go, "Oh, your contractor's license is at stake." Like, what?
Hell, I can tell you how all that works. I can even tell you how it works through government protocols and stuff, because we've been special expert for OSHA. I mean,
right.
I can actually tell you things that have happened, and now that it's already happened, I can even tell you what the case was, what they did, everything. It's already been settled. But we have been special experts, not only through that and government projects. We've done stuff where it deals with listing and labeling of equipment and the manufacturer's instructions, where that came in. We've done all kinds of jobs where people have been hurt on it. We've done utility, a lot of different types of utility stuff. I've been in all sectors that we've dealt with, not only the NEC, but the National Electrical Safety Code, OSHA Subpart R, Subpart K, Subpart R, or Subpart S, Subpart B, done all of that. And that's why when you look at our publications and you're getting into like 70E and we're referencing, we got standards to review and all them OSHA sections are in there. It's a direct tie-in, so you know what you're getting into. Nobody else does that. And the reason we do it is because we've been special experts on those type of cases. We know what we're talking about. So
yeah, and a lot of these guys, they try to just use the NFPA 70E standard to like say that applies to everything, and they're actually wrong. And the stall cups are the only ones that I've ever seen out there that apply all the different standards and show how they relate to each other. King James actually saw, while I was doing this podcast, I was going through NFPA 72, and I was going through and realizing how fire alarm NFPA 72 standard applies to NFPA 70, applies to NFPA 70E. I mean, I can't be a fire alarm guy and go open a panel energized because I violate 70E. It doesn't matter. Like, I could just, that doesn't apply to NFPA 72. I'm an idiot if I say that,
Sure.
And I just wanted to fill in John to show him what he missed, while he's gone.
Well, the fun's about to really start.
All right. So, it's King James's time. I sent King James a screenshot. They say I'm messing up the code, and I think King James is going to have a lot of fun with this. You were like a kid in an amusement park when I told you about it, so let's see what you got.
As soon as he told me, I said, that's what we're doing this week. I don't care about anything else. This is this. I even made an intro video so everybody can see it. So let me start the video. Here we go.
Do it.
I love doing stuff like that. But for y'all wondering, that's the new cover to the code book, by the way.
Nice. No, dude, you got me right away. I was like, is that the new cover? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the new cover, brother.
It's pretty cool. Dude, that's hilarious, man. I've already been grabbing the popcorn just so everyone keeps up to speed. I submitted a public input for 2026 and it passed, and everyone's just losing their minds saying that it's stupid, it has no technical merit, all this stuff. Exactly why I thought it would be rejected, but it's just really funny. So, I mean, well, I don't know. You called me when I was on my way home from work and you're like, you should see this one that passed over here, and you're like, it's 62554, and I was like, dude, I think that's mine,
Well, I was amazed at what it said, because it said it had to be installed, and I said, this is exactly what I've been saying the whole time. And what, as you see the front of this slide, it says nobody's listening except the people who matter. Well, we're about to explain what we think's going on, but this is an intro, because this post that we're going to show in the comments of there were from the ECD boy group over on Facebook, which I coined the Electrical Comedy Department. So
that's what it stands for.
This is what you're going to see. It might be a little hard to see, but I've increased this, and I've done it for each one of these. Now, the first part of this is Ryan Jackson, and he posted on there. He said he's talking about Bill. He said he's probably in hiding, having effed up. I'm not going to say the word. The 2026 rules for electrical vehicles, like he did. There are appeals to the NFPA Standards Council that include clips from his videos as evidence of what a dip ass he is. So basically, they're going to take our videos, but I don't think it's who he thinks it is. I think somebody's going in there that agrees with what we're saying, and they're going to be showing our videos. This is his opinion of them showing them. Because somebody is disagreeing with what we've been saying. That's basically what it comes down to. So
there's one big tell that I can mention on this comment right away is that so I didn't screw up any 2026 rule. Like, that's what's really funny about this. Like Ryan Jackson is supposed to be this really intelligent code professional. He's a member of Code Making Panel 3 and Code Making Panel 17. And this was totally fine to do this for HVAC equipment. Totally fine for him to just put this like, oh yeah, it's an outlet. You guys are don't know how to read and everything like that, you know. But the first thing that you'll see as like a red flag is, okay, where am I hiding? Like, everyone at my work, everyone at my job, everyone knows that I'm going to be here live on Thursday.
Every Thursday. That's not hiding.
You could come in the comments. You could talk to me personally about how I screwed up the 2026 rules, because I didn't. And that's the reason they have to do this. They have to make this mask. They have to make me a mask that I'm some kind of madman and I did something wrong, and then that demonizes me, so then it makes their argument better, and that's what I'm coming up with on that side of it.
Well, the way I look at this, when they're losing, they resort to name calling, and I'll just tell you this: people I know in the industry, a lot of people, and I'm not giving any names. I'm just telling you, they'll tell you Ryan Jackson's a snake. Okay? Nobody has to believe me. I'm just telling you what people have told me, and I really don't. I don't like Ryan Jackson at all. He's the guy that came up to our booth and told us that they use our publications to help them draw their illustrations for my coach's book when he was writing for him. And my dad was there. He'll even confirm it. So I guess they'd call both of us liars in that case. But be that it may, this one I'm talking about, you know what it reminds me of? We were just listening to Paul Abernathy. Exactly the same thing. Paul Abernathy went and used Charles Miller's material that he created and then modified and act like it's his own. That's the type of people we're talking about here. You know, what's good for me ain't good for everybody else. Okay? And then when they get called out on it, get caught, then they want to cry, you know, and cry wolf about it. Okay? So just looking at what he's saying here on these electrical vehicles, there was no screw up. Our whole point that we've argued the whole time, and I remember when we started this, and it was just on Bill had a podcast called the Willie Jackerson Experience, and he asked me to come on. I said, yeah. And we were sitting there, and he started asking me about some GFCI questions and stuff, and it got in about GFCI protection for an AC unit, and I said, well, there's no GFCI protection there. And he goes, well, yeah, there is. I said, no. I said, because there's no outlet there. I said, that's hardwired. And That's when all of this started. That was like the defining moment of when every bit of this started. And then it got around real fast, and they had their.
We were actually wondering that, David, like when the whole 210.8F came in, because we were like, these guys are sitting there telling you how to interpret the NEC, and man,
I want to go back and I want to point something out, because a little bit later down at the end of this, and we're going to get to this, you have a comment here by Jesse Duvea. He said the fact that his PI got passed with the overwhelming majority that it did is absolutely mind-blowing to me. The substantiation literally is the problem is in the interpretation that EVSC, when hardwired, is required to have Class A GFCI protection 210.8. Now, this is what gets me here. There was literally zero technical reason given for the change. Now, that's bringing us right to all of this, and this is what I want to say. And I brought this up. I said when they put 210.8F in, they didn't have the technical merit to do what they did. And then after they put it in, then they come back and put a TIA in and said about the AC equipment. Okay? And I said, you do not have the technical merit to do that. And then to prove this point, I'm asking everybody that's watching this podcast when you come on here, share it everywhere so everybody can see what's going on here. They came in and they come in and they got rejected at the Standards Council. So next thing you know, we roll around and they put together a task group to take and look at this. The task group did all this work. They did it in Houston with like 150 AC units or however many they did. And they put the information together and wrote a TIA. Code Making Panel 2, based on this TIA, said they rejected it. Now, this work that they did, this task group, this was verified work that had been performed, and Code Making Panel 2 rejected their input. And they turned around and wrote their own TIA and then passed it. Something's wrong there. I've never even heard that before. You put a task group together, then you reject their TIA and write your own. Well, then it went to the Standards Council. The Standards Council rejected the TIA that was done by Code Making Panel 2, and they accepted what had been done by the task group. The reason is because it had technical merit. That's something they don't tell you. Okay? This is why you watch podcasts like this or somebody else that will talk about this stuff, so you know exactly what took place. That's why we ask y'all to share every bit of this. So when all of this...
There's one more other ambiance that you're kind of missing with this comment, King James, that I noticed. And basically, so there's one other cam that was rejected by the electrical group in the NITMAMs, and it was to extend the non-compatibility of HVAC in 210.8F. So you said this a long time ago. So this is the evolution of what they did with this whole 210.8F. They said, all right, well, it's not compatible because they're killing old people. They killed like 700 old people nationwide. And they said, all right, we can't do this on incompatible equipment. So then they're like, all right, well, since, these old people are dying and they can't go reset the breaker because these AC units aren't compatible, we're going to go to January 1st of 2023, I think was a stupid date in the beginning. Then they're like, oh, well, that's not going to work. So now we're going to go to September 1st, 2026. Well, now the CAM was to extend it beyond 2026 to September 1st, 2029, and the Code Making Panel rejected it. So all the voting members at NFPA rejected extending the date of compatibility to 2029. So that's another appeal that's up there at Standards Council. So this whole thing just got really ugly. So that was kind of part of. I know that's part of why Ryan's pissed too. Is that's kind of combined in with the appeals. Is that this whole thing's it's turning into a big old mess for him.
And when it all started right back then, that was a long time ago. I mean, we're talking 5-6 years ago. I told them you'd be lucky if it ever even made it to the 2029, and they told me I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm full of crap. And I said, you don't know how the standards process works when you're going in and you're setting testing standards. And I said, they're coming out with a new one. It'll be another 3-5 years before anything takes place. They said, that goes show you don't know the process of code and everything. Well, who's right? Who ended up being right? Well, through all that, they started arguing. I said, are you trying to tell me that I need to take and put GFCI protection out there for hardwired EVSC, gate openers, everything? I just started naming everything outside, and they said yes. And I said, you're full of crap. That isn't right.
So the other thing that you brought to my attention too, King James, which was really cool, is that if you go off the manufacturer instructions, there's actually instructions that say, do not put this on a GFCI, and that overrides the NEC.
That's right.
And when we went and looked at it, it's 100% true. If they tell you don't put this on a GFCI, it's not compatible, you go right to the inspector, you show them that paperwork, and it'll pass. And that's why these guys are mad. They're saying you can't install it. So what are we supposed to do? Like, you have a refrigerator or a cooktop, or you have something that's not compatible. That's getting in big arguments with Code Making Panel 17. That's another reason why Ryan's mad too, because now he's going on the other side of the fence, because now he's got to justify why Code Making Panel 2's requiring their appliances to be on GFCI. It's just so ridiculous.
And it goes to everything that I've stated up to this point, the things that they're doing. And I said, there's no technical merit justification for this. And that brings us in to looking at this, why Bill went in and he made some public input right here. Okay. And all he did, he put all receptacles installed for the connection of electrical vehicle chargers have GFCI protection for personnel. Okay. Now that is what took place. And what you'll notice, he took out an outlets. That's basically all he did right there.
That's what I did. So basically I added outlets, then I took away outlets.
That's right.
So I added outlets, took away outlets, and then in my substantiation, you could see I said, like, there is no technical merit to do this.
They had the word outlet to this reference. So they rewrote it, and here you go. So I saw where they put outlets installed. So I said, all receptacles and hardwired outlets. And I put in parentheses, utilization equipment installed. And then I put, because this is what they were telling us, I put in here that the GFCI protection shall be required even if the manufacturer's instructions state otherwise. I did that on purpose because they were trying to tell us that the code overrides the manufacturer's instructions.
Yeah.
I wanted them on record. You know what their reply was? This doesn't provide any clarity, blah, blah, blah. They didn't even answer.
Yeah. I sent you the one where they actually had the official answer, and it basically said that this has been added for safety of an electrical installation or whatever. There was like 11 public comments from everybody. It was from Mike Holt, from Jesse Dubé, Bearded Inspector. Bearded Inspector put 2 in there. He wanted to have one. Like, dude, he wanted it just to say outlets, not even say receptacles. Well, you can't change it like that. And that's what's so funny. Like, I love the fact you put hardwired outlets because they wanted it to say that, but then they couldn't say that because it's changing too many words in the sentence or whatever. to me, honestly, I was blown away by that mine even passed. I was like, whoa. I couldn't believe it passed. Like, when you called me and you told me about it, I was like, what? It passed? I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
Like, I thought that would be rejected, you know?
Well, and the thing I like is there's a paper trail. That's the most important part behind this right now. There's a paper trail for everybody to follow and look at. And if you go over to your next edition for NFPA 70, you can go over there and they'll take you over into Terror View, and you can go over and see what has been taking place and everything. And when you go over and you look at 62554, they had to come in and they had to redo it. And I want to explain what you're reading right here. This sentence was taken out. And now you've got A and B. You got cord and plug connected, and then you have permanently wired. Now, when they get into the permanently wired and they talk about 150 volts or less to ground, what it's going to say now is all outlets at a rate of 150 volts or less to ground. Now, I want you to listen to what it says, this next part. Installed for the connection of electric vehicle charging. That means something has to be installed there for you to connect it to that electrical vehicle charging. It's not saying the electrical vehicle charging equipment is the outlet.
100% agree.
Now,
that's the whole reason I did this.
Yeah, and that's why I want everybody to pay attention to the wording and what it says. Because anybody reading that, they're going to read that and say, oh, well, the outlet is installed already, so I can connect my electrical vehicle charging. They're not saying once the electrical vehicle charging is put in, the outlet's installed. They're saying it's installed already.
So the reason that I submitted this, and I knew it was like a freaking light bulb just went off in your head when you saw that it passed. But like the reason I did this is because I put them in a box. Because I'm like, all right. I was like, these guys taught me how to do this. Like Ryan Jackson and all these code guys, they taught me how to do this. Is you want something to say a certain thing, just, you know, make the language be screwed up on this side and screwed up on that side. If they want to fix it, they got to fix the language.
That's right.
And they didn't, and I knew they wouldn't because I knew they didn't want a massive change. But just like you, like, if you go in there and you say hardwired outlets, right? And they pass, let's just say they pass your public comment and they say hardwired outlets, blah, 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 you know? And say exactly that. Then they think that they have other problems in the code, which they do, because now they have to go say hardwired outlets over here, and hardwired outlets over here, and hardwired outlets over here. And it's so they can't pass that. They have to only pass the one that's really vague. And I knew they would do that.
Let me explain something. For what they're wanting to try to have you believe, that's why they're having trouble with the wording. And I'm going to give you an example, and that's a good point you just brought. Because if I look at 62554A and I look at cord and plug connected, listen to what it says. All receptacles rated 150 volts around. Now listen to this. Installed for the connection of electrical vehicle charging. Then if I drop down and look at permanent wiring for 150 volts or less ground for the outlets, what's it say there? Installed for the connection of electrical vehicle charging. See, you're saying the exact same wording, but yet you're going to tell me that when I put the receptacle in there, that's going to be set up for the connection of electrical vehicle charging. But if I come over here and I'm putting an outlet in and I'm connecting where it's hardwired, all of a sudden there's no outlet there. It's at the charging. You can't pick and choose like that. And that's why I'm saying they're having a very, very hard time writing the language in order to do this. And it goes back to, like we were saying before, they tried to come in and they tried to change the language after 100-something years, you know, for the definition of an outlet, and they tried to change it. Well, guess what happened? When they
do not tag me as being part of that. No. Do not tag me.
Well, you know why it got started. And I want everybody to hear this because you had Don Gennari. He specifically called me out, basically saying I'm a dummy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Blah blah blah. We need to rewrite this. They rejected him. Then co-making panel one, you had other members from other panels coming over, talking to them, wanting to get it changed. Well, they changed it, and then all of a sudden, the outlet was just only at the utilization equipment. All of a sudden, it wasn't at the receptacle outlet, and they said, "Oh, well, wait, we can't do that." So, in order to do this, they had to revert it back to the original language. And then they tried to come back and say, "Well, the reason they did that because it was already perfectly clear." Well, if it was perfectly clear, you never would have tried to change it in the first place. And,
dude, I'm actually honored to be tied with like this podcast and everything for us to just be like stirring up this much stuff to be like, no, dude, you guys just can't like pass these codes and then tell us how to interpret them, you know?
Sure.
And so I told you, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be out there, I'm gonna be submitting public inputs, and I'm gonna make them so mad at me because I want the code to be right. I want it to be legit. I want an inspector to come out there and be like, yep, that's code compliant. Just look at it. You know,
Sure.
That's easy. You know, and look at Weedman. Like,
well,
dude, he's calling me clueless and.
Well,
dude.
I'm gonna cover the things that he said, and
Right.
you know, I've made this comment before. If Ryan Jackson says something wrong, Jeremy Weed doesn't say anything to him. And Jeremy said, "I don't even know Ryan Jackson." And I posted a picture of him with Ryan Jackson. He goes, "Well, that's just a picture. That doesn't matter." I said, "You said you never met him." The reason I'm telling everybody, Ryan or Jeremy Weed is a liar. Period.
Yeah.
That's all he is. And if you look, he's just like Ryan. They're using cuss words and everything just to start. Most likely he's so effing clueless, he's not even funny anymore. Then he says, "I watched a random 2 minutes of his and James' show last week, and James is still insisting that OSHA is somehow connected to an electrical installation that manufacturer requirements can lessen the requirements." And you see, I have never once said that the manufacturer's requirements can be lessened. I said that once you have a listing and labeling, they met everything. And I'm going to prove that one more time here. So if you go and look at OSHA, everybody, this is exactly why y'all want to share this podcast. I hardly ever ask y'all sharing it. You need to share this particular one, this segment here that we're talking about.
And a big thing that Weedman actually spelled King James wrong. So
yeah.
That's a little technical grammar error.
But if you look and you go to OSHA 1910-399, there's going to be two definitions right at the first. It's going to talk about acceptable and accepted. Okay? And they're very, very particular when they're looking at this. And they say an installation. Now, let's just stop right there. I thought OSHA had nothing to do with installations. Isn't that what Jeremy just said? Let's go back and take a look. Yeah. OSHA is somehow connected to an electrical installation.
Oh, it is somehow. It is somehow connected to electrical installation.
The reason I show everybody, I want y'all to see the wording. They mouth off and tell you blah, 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 but they never back it up. We're backing it up here to show you what we're telling you is correct. And I know this is correct because I've done work with OSHA. I've been a special expert for them. And I know when I'm combining stuff that happens out in the field with the NEC, I actually use the OSHA document when I'm doing this. Okay? So
yeah, and that's another reason that I wanted to bring this up about Paul Abernathy, because he wants to claim he's a special expert, but he's a freaking liar. Like,
he is.
He's not out in the field. He doesn't have the industrial experience. Like, he's sitting there, oh, what if you change the breaker by 60 amps? Yeah, you're not doing that. You know?
Well,
that's stupid.
And this is a good example. It says an installation equipment acceptable to the Assistant Secretary of Labor. And listen to this. And improved within the meaning of subpart S. Now, let me explain something. If you go look at 1910.302 through 308, That's subpart S. It gets into all kinds dealing with the safety of electrical equipment, and it pulls things out strictly from the National Electrical Code. They update it about every 10, 12 years. But then they have a preamble in the back, and then you use the current National Electrical Code to enforce their rules. Okay? Now, it says, now watch this, with respect to an installation or equipment of a kind that no nationally recognized test or laboratory accepts, certifies, lists, labels, or determines to be safe. If it is inspected or tested by another federal agency or by a state, municipal, or other local authority responsible for enforcing occupational safety provisions of the National Electrical Code and found in compliance with the provision of the National Electrical Code as applied in this subpart. Now, that's telling you there that the equipment is designed and listed and labeled and certified for the installation.
So
okay?
I want to give this chance to give a big shout out to Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector. If you guys want a really cool podcast you want to check out, go to Ask the Lady Electrical Inspector. She was a guest on here, and she agrees with every single thing King James is saying because she's a great inspector and she's out there doing a great job. So just keep in mind, go to that podcast if you want great information. She's doing a great job.
Awesome. She's a really nice person too, and she loves the code. I'll tell you, she does.
100%.
Now, I'm not going to get into number 3 because it gets into custom made. That's something I'll do another podcast on. But then it talks about what's accepted. It says an installation is accepted if it has been inspected and found by a national recognized testing laboratory. Now, listen to this. It says an installation. I want everybody to read that. An installation is accepted if it has been inspected and found by a national recognized testing laboratory to conform to specified plans or to procedures of applicable codes. So it's telling you right there. Now, if that is the case, then if I come over and you look, you can go in, and I didn't do everything, but you go in, they cover 110.3B in the OSHA 1910-302. So they're going to cover 110.3B. Then they're going to get into the definition of accepted and approved, and then they got their listed and labeled equipment here. And it almost, to a point, it almost reads word for word what the National Electrical Code says. So they're telling you here, this equipment's listed and labeled. You got these labels, symbols, or some other type of identifying mark, and all these are published by a national recognized laboratory, and they always are doing periodic inspections of the production of that equipment. Okay.
True.
So
100%. This
is required by OSHA, and it is part of the installation. Everybody can see, we're showing you, they literally state that. Now, when you come in and you look at this and you go to 1910.7C, it gets into the test standards. And I want you to look what C1 says. Recognized in the United States as a safety standard providing an adequate level of safety. And then C2 says compatible with and maintain current with periodic revisions of applicable, national codes and installation standards.
Oh, dude, what is so weird? It doesn't say anything about the workplace in there. Why does it not say the workplace in there?
That's because they're dealing strictly with the equipment itself.
This
Now,
is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's right. Got a problem. Now, this is one of the things I really like here, because they go in and they break every bit of this down and what the intent is. And it says it's developed by a standards developing organization. Now listen, under a method providing for input and consideration of views. Now listen, of industry groups, experts, users, consumers, governmental authorities, and others having broad experience in the safety field involved. I don't know. And when they come in and you've got these people that are on these code making panels and they're saying, 110.3B overrides the listing and labeling. No, it doesn't. The reason it doesn't is because of this here. If you think it does, won't you go on this OSHA committee and tell them that?
Well, the problem is coming into the enforcement out in the field. And that's where they're getting mad at me. Because I'm sitting there exposing, like, hey, I just talked to the inspector the other day. Like, they're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why Ryan Jackson's getting mad, because he's up there on 2 different code making panels wanting to force everyone's hand to have to do all this safety stuff. And now all of a sudden, nobody cares. You know, and he's like, why doesn't nobody care? And it's like, yeah, because I'm going out there talking to people, and they're like, yeah, you're dumb. You know, like, you don't have to do that. You
Sure.
know, and that's, you know, like, that's why they have to take IEI and say they're the enforcement specialist, you know? Like, to me, like, when I saw that, I was like, what? You don't enforce anything. Like, you guys write the code. Write the code in a good manner, and everyone's going to enforce it. But you write the code and try to hedge it towards your freaking product or try to promote your stuff. Nobody's gonna enforce your agenda.
Well,
Like, it's
and
just
that goes back to
ridiculous.
what Dimitrovich said the other day. Yeah, we create these products, but if we don't put it in the code, nobody will use it.
Well, it's too expensive, and states will amend it and all this stuff. Well, yeah, the states are gonna amend it because we're getting the word out. It's garbage.
That's
You
right.
know, and if there's a reason, then, you know, by all means, I would love to get sued for asking NFPA a question. I would love for there to be a lawsuit for me just going, hey, why do you guys push this? Why are you guys pushing this? I would love to see a lawsuit on that. That would be awesome.
You have the right to submit anything.
Yeah.
Public inputs, that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
And
Bring it on. Bring it
just
on.
like-
You got a lawsuit? Come sue me.
they're not
Sue
coming to
me.
sue you. I think it's something he was referring to as suing them. I don't think it has
Yeah.
anything to do with us. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, I'd even go as far as say who gave them permission to use our videos.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to know who did that. But anyway,
Yeah.
then you look at C4 and it talks about the standards that are currently designated. It says you got your ANSI standard, which is American National Standards Institute Safety Designated Product Standard, or you have your ASTM, which is your American Society for Testing and Materials Test Standard, that are used for evaluation of products or materials. And then there's other alternative test standards you can look at here. But when you look at that, it tells you if a testing laboratory desires to use a testing standard other than one allowed under paragraph C of section, then the Assistant Secretary of Labor shall evaluate the proposed standard to determine that it provides an adequate level of safety for its use. And the reason is because they look at it and base it on what? Right back here, it tells you the applicable national codes and installation standards in C2.
Yeah, and I'll take that a step further with like that. What we remember we were talking about with Tommy D and the breaker, and they allow you to use a 500 singular 500 on a 400 amp breaker, and the 500 is only rated for 360 amps, so it's 40 amps shy, and they're sitting there, oh, this is a violation and this is wrong, and it's like, it's part of the listing. Like, they already tested it with that. You know, like, they tested it with that load on that size, you know, conductor, and like, you're sitting there trying to say they're wrong? You're trying to say they're dumbasses?
Sure.
That's ridiculous.
And here's another one Jeremy lies about. He put in there, my new favorite is his claim that the percentages in Chapter 9, Table 1 are there to limit the heat from the number of conductors in the raceway. I never said that. I said what it is when you don't connect it on both ends. I said the heat is allowed to escape. Big difference. Yeah. And then I said he also claims that if you have a conduit that does not terminate to an enclosure on both ends, you can no longer call it a raceway. I did say that. I said if it's 10 foot or less, and I said you don't connect on both ends, I said it is a sleeve. And then also said
100%.
if the conduit is less than 24 inches, it's not a raceway, it's a nipple. Anybody that's been doing electrical work for a long time, even when I was coming back in the 80s, we were taught that. So
yeah, and you'll notice 3 lappy emojis on there. One of them is me.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent you that screenshot. But the thing that's so funny about that is I cannot believe that they were arguing with you about that when they're like, oh no, a nipple could be 10 feet. Remember that?
No, it can't.
Remember that when they were arguing with you and they're like, oh no, there's no limit on a nipple or whatever.
I said,
like,
yeah, there is 24 inches or less.
Yeah, they're like, no, a nipple could be 10 foot long.
See, that's where they have a problem. But I like to point out here, if you look at Chapter 9, Table 1, Pickup Note 2, it tells you Table 1 applies only to a complete conduit or tubing system, period. True. That means it has to be connected on both ends.
Yep.
Otherwise, 100%. It's not complete. And then it says, it is not intended to apply to sections of conduit or tubing used to protect exposed wiring or cable from physical damage. And then you look at the NFPA enhanced content and they tell you the maximum fill requirements do not apply to short sections of conduit or tubing used for physical protection of conductors and cables, period. And why is that? You know, it's like Jeremy was arguing with me and I said, okay, Jeremy, I said, if I have, say, a 10-foot run and I'm connected on both ends, then I should be able to load that up completely by your uninformed logic on how you're applying a 10-foot run. I said, because if I have a 10-foot run and it's not connected on both ends, I can get as many conductors in there I want. And the reason I said that is because you allow heat to escape from that one end. I said, now, if it's connected on both ends, I said, why do I have to apply 310.15C, C1? I said, why do I have to apply that for current carrying conductors? He goes, that's a good question. You should make a public input about it. I said, I don't have to make a public input because I'm telling you it's a sleeve. It's not a complete raceway like it says up in Note 2 there. And
and so just to let everyone know, like, the thing that's funny about these guys that supposedly are like code experts is they want the code to be vague. But then when you want to define it and make it like defined, then they get mad. You know, that's our frustration is like, no, we want to define it and say exactly that. And then they're like, no, you can't say that. It has to be vague.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's kind of.
Here's Note 4 to Chapter 9, Table 1. It's very specific. It says the conduit or tubing nipples, not including conductors or connectors, having a maximum length not to exceed 24 inches.
Yeah, there was a few people, David, like, it was, who was it? Eric Collier said that. There was a few people that were like,
I think Jeff White did too, didn't he?
Yeah, like they were like, oh yeah, it's still a raceway. It's not nipple.
Yeah, but watch this, and this is why I wanted to show this, because if you read further in that, it says the nipple shall be permitted to be filled to 60%. Okay, why is a sleeve there's no percentage, but there is for a nipple? Well, the reason is because the nipple is a complete connection end to end.
Yeah.
And it's one thing for pulling in, but it also, they realize there's no heat escape there because it's on both ends. But when I go to a sleeve, there's no fill requirements there. Why is that? Because the heat can escape from one end. Now, I'm not asking anybody to believe anything I say. I'm just giving you points here of why I believe what I believe, and I'm giving you reason behind it based on what the code states here. And so anybody that's watching this, you can see I'm giving you reasons. I'm just not saying because we believe this means this over here. I'm showing, and Bill knows I state this all the time. You use the code book as a whole. 100%. And I take and go 100%. Through all kinds of different sections here and there for you to look at. And then when you get over here and you look at your mechanical continuity in your raceway installations, well, it's very funny because right here, you got mechanical continuity between them. That means it's a complete raceway. And then when you get to short sections, looky there, you don't have that anymore. There's an exception. I go to the raceway installation. It talks about complete runs, but then I go pick up an exception here for short sections of raceway, which are being used as what? Sleeves. And how do I know they're being used as sleeves? Because if I look right here, they're telling you cables commonly are protected from physical damage by conduit or tubing. Sleeves size to enable the cable to be passed through with relative ease without injuring or abrading the protective jacket of the cable, but they don't show you how many you can put in there. Well, the reason is because the heat escapes. So I mean, I've given you one, two, three, four different sections there.
What do you think the fill calculation is based off of? So they're sitting there saying this condition it's 40%, this condition is 60%, this condition is unlimited, but yeah, you're supposed to like limit that on 3, 10, 15. Mm-hmm. Like it's just ridiculous. I don't get that.
Well, and that's why I show this, is because I want everybody to see, even when you go to 318A, it says complete runs. That means they're connected end to end. And then there's an exception right below it. See, they don't want to reference these sections to you. Because when you go back and look and you tie it in with NFPA enhanced content, all of a sudden you realize, oh, that's nothing but a sleeve, them short sections. They're telling you that they literally say short sections used as what? Sleeves. And there's no fill requirements or anything. But when I get to a nipple, oh, well, it's connected on end to end, and we're going to limit 60% fill on it.
Yeah.
Amazing how that works.
And it doesn't require support.
That's right.
Because the only reason I know that, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I heard a story that Paul Abernathy has floppy nipples. So I don't know. I don't know how true it is. I don't want to spread rumors. I heard it out of the blue. But
well, I think this particular podcast here, I think we have shed some light on some stuff out there for people to digest and think about. Only that he started in my head and it's from my heart expressed through my mouth.
Yeah, dude, that's a really good comment. I like that, Like Tommy D says every time, it's my opinion, it started in my head, and it's from my heart, and it's engineered through my mouth. So, it's expressed through his mouth. So, that's a really good comment. Like I say, Tommy D, he's a really awesome dude. If you guys want to go check out a really good podcast, go check out TD Unplugged, the IEI podcast. Really good engineering podcast, really cool. I'm always on there, like expressing my opinion. Tommy D really loves GFCI. He really doesn't need any data to require GFCI from Code Making Panel 2. We will see how that comes through. Like me and King James, we're on the fence about that. We don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can just say, okay, so here's an example, just to give everyone an example. So, Code Making Panel 2, they require GFCI for microwave ovens for 2023. So, I'm like, what the heck? Like, why are you requiring GFCI protection for microwave ovens? And they're like, oh, we use the consumer data product sheet or whatever to use that evaluation to do it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. All right. So then I'm like, oh, what was that based off of? Oh, that's people that are working on their microwave while energized. What? Like, who is doing that? Like, okay, so like 4 people died while working on their microwave while energized. Okay, well, peace out, see ya. I mean, why? Like, that's a Darwin Awards. Like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you thinking that's okay? Like, take your microwave to a microwave repair shop. Like, why would you? I mean, to me, I'm not working on my own microwave. I am not. If my microwave breaks, I throw it in the trash and I go buy a new microwave.
I'd buy a new one.
Yeah, like, dude, I'm not gonna go like, oh man, I'm gonna plug it in and take it apart. Like, dude, that is like, oh yeah, I know how to work on nuclear bombs. You know what I mean? Like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't, like, then I heard that they were like taking apart microwaves and doing like some cool wood burning stuff with them and stuff. Like, that's awesome. I will buy the wood that you burn for me, but I will not do that myself. You know, like, I am not going to do that, you know? So it just comes into this whole thing, you know? And, you know, it just blows me away, you know? Like, to me, like, Tommy D, like, David Englehart mentions Tommy D. Tommy D is a really good electrical engineer, and he says we have to avoid unintentional rapid disassembly in the field, right? Well, that's cool. You know, he deals with a lot of, like, what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if this, you know, what if this thing goes hot to ground? What if this thing goes hot to hot? Like, dude, literally Tommy, like, he taught me they almost never go hot to hot. Almost never. On any system, ever. But they'll go hot to ground a lot, you know? But they'll almost never go hot to hot. Almost never. So you reduce the whole incident of happening. Like, when you guys are in there doing like 70E, because you're on the same committee with Tommy D, doing like 70E, and you're like, why are you guys covering hot to hot? You know, like, why are you guys doing that? Why are you guys putting hot to hot in the freaking standard? What's the whole reason you guys are doing that? Oh, you know, it happened like one time in like 2007, and you're like, well, why does that have to be part of the standard? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you're looking at it from like a logical standpoint. Like, what's the reason why we have to do this? Like, it happened like one time in 2007. Why do we have to make it part of the standard? You know, like, that's literally what me and King James are kind of discussing tonight. Is why does it have to be part of a standard? Why does it have to be part of all this stuff? It's like, it happened one time. It was a unfortunate incident, but you have an electrical engineer that's in there pushing it, and he's only seen it happen one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder. You know? And, you know, it's really cool to have David, you know, like, you know, he's working on microwave while energy. Yeah, dude, you can't fix stupid, David. Dude, 100%, bro. It really blows your mind, and that's the whole reason they're like, oh, this has to be on GFCI. Well, now we have this whole argument that's going on with the Standards Council and all these appeals going between Code Making Panel 2, Code Making Panel 17. Code Making Panel 2 controls the appliances. Code Making Panel 2 controls the branch circuit. Code Making Panel 2 wants to have GFCI protection on the branch circuit. Code Making Panel 17 is like, well, we already have protection, you know, like with the appliance, so we don't need you guys. And so it's going back and forth. And then I didn't even know this, but I guess the chair of Code Making Panel 17 is a member of Code Making Panel 2. And he's the one that's kind of pushing back on some of this, like, expansion, like going, hey. And then they said, oh, we had a compromise, you know. Remember that? Mm-hmm. We had a compromise and we deleted it. And so as it is right now, all that extra stuff is deleted. But then the NITMAP came out. Now they sent it back for a vote for both Code Making Panel 17 and Code Making Panel 2. And to me, it's just ridiculous, because what happens if they don't have a product that aligns with what you're doing out in the field? You do the same thing you were doing yesterday. You don't change a thing.
This is a good point. We're bringing all this up. Is I will highly recommend that when you're getting the code change publication, a good example of this is we're going to have in the learning management system, I'm about to load up the whole new things completely updated. We checked all the sections. Everything is, I'll finish it tonight and I'm going to put it on probably tomorrow. When you get that publication on there, anything that happens at the Standards Council, we will update that. And when it's updated, in other words, the publications that are online through the learning management system, they'll always be updated from things that we find. All we have to do is just put it on there, resubmit or re-upload the new PDF, and you'll always know exactly what took place. So
nice.
One of the things that I'm going to do is on the page that's there when you log in, I have you go to the I forget what they call that page, but I'm going to put in there and tell you what happened at the Standards Council. That way, when you go in and you see something, that way you'll know what changed. It'll be sort of like an errata sheet, so you know what took place. Okay?
So I'm going to give you guys a pre-interview, I'm going to give you a look into what's going to happen at the Standards Council. It's going to be like this.
Yeah, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we're going to do a podcast for the new 2026 NEC changes, the publication, show everybody. And I also will have on there where we're going to show for the instructors out there. I also will have on there the presentation showing you all that. So we're pretty much done. We're happy over here. Matter of fact, we're going Saturday because I'll finish it tonight. We're going Saturday to have a steak dinner for celebration. Every time we finish a new publication, we're going to have a steak.
I will remember you when I'm at the season opener for the Broncos, man. Go Broncos against Cards on Saturday. So
yeah, it'd be fun.
I will give you a steak. Hallelujah. I don't know. Should we actually do the beam at like the first time ever we went to like hour and a half?
Yeah, we go ahead and roll it.
All right.
I wasn't sure which one you wanted, so I put both of them in.
Yeah, so I think we did that one last week.
Oh, did we? I saw both of them. I was like, I'll just do both of them.
Yeah, no, it's funny though, but they're both funny because like I guess supposedly that one with the wrenches tied together somehow was in there working. I don't know. Like supposedly like that's an actual install that somebody bolted the wrenches in there and got it to work. Like, it didn't blow up or nothing. Like, somehow somebody found it like that. Like it was the wrenches touching and shit. Like, to me, I was blown away. I was like, no way. Like, I didn't, but it was like, hey, man, I pulled the wire short. He's like, dude, I got you. And it somehow worked. Somehow it worked. Like, I don't know. Like they posted that on like a few of my groups, and it could be like a staged picture or something like that. But somehow I think it worked. Somehow, like I don't know how, but they had two wrenches touching the wire, and it held. I don't know
Never
how,
know.
but I was like, dude, I got you, bro, and then it worked.
It's like duct tape.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know how that worked. If it did, it could be a internet stage thing. I don't know, but supposedly it worked like that. And dude's like, I got you, bro.
Well,
and
you know
somehow
what? You know what I'm curious of?
What's that?
That Daniel's ready to get whooped.
Oh, dude. Dude, is Is DJ over there? Oh man, is DJ? Oh man, DJ. Oh man, he is going.
Yeah, we're probably.
Yeah, Eagles, Cowboys, man, dude, that's gonna be rough, man.
All right, let's cue it up. Get an extra foot or so.
So funny. Dude, you just put the truck on it, Daniel. You should know.
What you do, you send the apprentice to get a wire stretcher.
Yeah. Dude, just put the truck on it, bro.
Okay, let's quiz it out. Willie Quiz time.
So, welcome to the Willie Quiz, the funnest quiz on Facebook or on YouTube. Dude, this is so much fun. I actually didn't even save my drum roll thing, but this is gonna be so much fun. I'll try to work on it while we go through it. Question number 1: which celebrity was the original voice of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story? Test footage before Tim Allen took over for the final film. And I think we know that Tim Allen would be the voice after he took over.
Mm-hmm.
But A, Billy Crystal, later voiced Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. B, Jim Carrey, comedian known as The Mask. C, Chevy Chase, National Lampoon star. D, Patrick Warburton, later voiced Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove. Or E, Tim Allen, host of Tool Time. Good luck, everyone.
I actually know this one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know this one.
All right, so Daniel's picking D. Ooh,
No,
Patrick Warburton.
that's not who I thought it was. I'm going with A, Billy Crystal. I could have swore it was him.
That's interesting. So how serious are you about your answer? Or you think it's you think you always say that you know answers, and stuff. But
I'm pretty sure it was Billy Crystal was the one that they used first, and then it later become Tim Allen.
King James gets the first answer of the night. Daniel is wrong, so we start with a King James lead tonight. Let's see if he can continue it. Question number 2: which actor voiced Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove 2000? Was it A, Tim Allen, Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story? Was it B, John Goodman, Sully in Monsters, Inc.? Was it C, Patrick Warburton, also voiced Joel Swanson in Family Guy? D, Kevin James, star of Paul Blart Mall Cop? Or is it E, Michael Pena, actor in Crash? Good luck, everyone.
I'll tell you how I know this, because I went with the kids, and we went and saw The Emperor's New Groove, and I couldn't place the actor that was voicing Kronk, and so I watched after credits. They go through and show everything, and because I've never once seen the Family Guy, never seen the show. I never really watched that, Simpsons, any of that, and that I didn't even know the guy's name, Patrick Warburton. I just know he was the Family Guy, Joe Swanson. If you hadn't have put that there, I wouldn't have been. Well, because I don't really know who Michael Pena is, but I do recognize the other three. But I just know he was in the Family Guy. That's how I know that. So let's see.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston.
And you and Daniel get a correct answer.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dude, I wanted to do that to you, like, in the quiz.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
I know this one. I know this
All
one.
right. Who provided the voice for Tigris in Kung Fu Panda 2008? Was it A. Uma Thurman, B. Angela Jolie, C. Lucy Liu, D. Charles Theron, or E.
Aquafina.
Aquafina. Oh, Aquafina? Oh, man. Yeah. All right. It's Aquafina. All right. Never mind. Good luck, everyone. All right, Daniel is down by 1. This is not looking good.
Angelina Jolie. I know who it is.
Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
All right, so looks like King James is copying Daniel's answer of B. So let's see. Oh, he's right. So we have a King James lead so far of 3-2. So pretty good. Or actually, yeah, 3-2, huh?
Yeah, I think I know this one.
All right. So, which Star Wars actor voiced the Joker in Batman, the animated series, 1992 through 1995? Was it A. Harrison Ford, Han Solo? Was it B. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker? Was it C. Ian McDaniel, Emperor Palpatine? Was it D. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Or was it E. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian? Good luck, everyone.
Well, the interesting thing about this one, I know it wasn't Ian McGregor. That was after. I know it wasn't Billy D. Williams, and I know it wasn't Harrison Ford. So it leaves me with 2, but I think Emperor Palpatine, I don't think his voice would match up with that. I think I'm going to go with Mark Hamill.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
I'll go with
Houston,
Mark
we have a
Hamill.
problem.
Because he has that
right.
little screechy type voice, Ian McDermott, his is more deep. Okay, yeah, he went the same way I did, Mark Hamill. Yeah.
So you were gonna copy Daniel again. Let's see how it pays off for you. Oh, you're correct. It was Mark Hamill. So On to question number 5. The original Lion King, 1994, who was Zazu in the Hornbill? I know you know this one.
I do.
A, Rowan Atkinson. B, John Cleese. C, Hugh Laurie. D, Eric Idle. E, John Oliver. Good luck, everyone.
Simple. The reason I know this is because I think this guy's voice is really
we have a
funny.
problem.
But it's Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
All right, so it looks like Daniel is going to copy you again. And let's see. King James takes the win. But we have to get past the tiebreaker round, and Daniel still has a chance to steal tonight if he gets the correct answer.
Okay.
So, out of all the animated series of Shaggy Rogers on Scooby-Doo, how many different voice actors were used? Number 1 through 10. Good luck. Tiebreaker.
Wow, I'm going to think about that. Let's see. 1, 2.
It's not more than 10. Not less than 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see. 1, 2. Because I'm thinking of the new one they just did too, so I'm having to count that.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
I think I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm just gonna take a guess because I'm not 100% sure on this. So it's probably going to come down to who gets the closest is what I'm thinking.
Right.
So I'm going to say there were 5.
Daniel takes the win with 6. He gets right on the money. It was 6, and one of them was Casey Kasem. But like, it was so awesome. Like, all the guys at work had to Google it, and oh man, I can't believe it, King James.
Well, I was counting because I think that cartoon come out about the
60s.
I was going to say 50, 60. So I was counting decades, how many different people would have been used to there. So I was saying, well, count decades, you got probably close to 5. I was in between 5 and 7. I just went with 5, just cut it in half.
Dude, I guess 7, but once again, Daniel proves he is the Jaws of the show, and he just crushes. He just takes
that would actually
the
be
victory.
a tie. That'd actually be a tie, 5 and 5.
Yeah, but if he ties, he
that's
wins.
not a tiebreaker. It's still a tie.
Yeah, but it's a tiebreaker and he wins. But you know, like one thing we want to go is we just want to say this one thing. You know, James is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory every time. You know, so you know that's a good statement there, Daniel. You know, that was
I got pretty close there. But I was counting through the years, I just like, it's got to be 1, 2, 3. I mean, I was counting because they usually stick with the same voice guy as long as they can. So,
Yeah.
I started adding up. I was like, hey, that's got to be, 5, 7 of them at least.
So I probably rigged it against James, like maybe a little too far, and maybe have to like rig it back, But at the same time, it's really fun. It's really cool when we get people like Daniel in there, and Daniel is getting them, crushing them, and the thing is, like, you like to have a formal challenge of like, because every single one, like every time you're like, oh, I know this one, I know this one, I know this one, So it's cool when like Daniel knows it too, and then you didn't know the tiebreaker, so you got crushed.
That was close.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Thanks so much, Daniel, for participating, and it's a lot of fun doing it. And everyone else, if you want to jump in and try to beat King James, feel free, because he knows everything about everything, and so I try to
not hockey
rig
apparently.
Yeah, I try to rig it a little bit, like give him. I try to like just take out his knee like the Union. Like, be like, hey, like, it's funny, there's this one where, I found this picture, and it's all showing him hitting, like, your knee with a baseball bat, and it says, hey, remind the people that, don't cross the picket line, or something like that, and I sent it to Weed Man, and I was like, hey, man, you condone this, huh? I was like, you work for the people that do this kind of stuff, huh? He got madder than hell, it's like, yeah, so you think it's okay to, like, break somebody's knee for across the picket line, huh? All right. That's what kind of person you are. All right.
They think.
Yeah. But we'll go on to tour review, is it?
Yep, tour review.
All right.
It's time for Tour Review of the Week. Sponsored by the Christians Only Tour Review.
Everyone out there, do a pickle shot for Adam. After the quiz, I always do a pickle shot. Awesome, Adam. Thank you so much. Every time Adam joins, so much fun. Appreciate it. So, this is actually one of the tools that we've been dealing, like, kind of using a lot. We got temps in the hundreds over here in Denver, and it's really nice to just have this. It has magnetic thing. It'll just stick right on your lift. You could put it right on your toolbox, put it right on your metal desk. Really nice, stays up there. You can adjust it, whatever, but this is only the M12, which to me, I was actually surprised. It lasted all day. I used it all day, and it worked great. M12 is pretty good power plant for Milwaukee. I just couldn't say anything bad about this. Has like multiple speeds. Like I say, with the magnet on there, that's really nice. You can aim it like whatever direction you want to kind of get. Some of the guys were out there doing underground, and we're like, hey, let's get you this fan, put it on your metal cart, and get you kind of cooled down and stuff. And so they were using it all day, and like the whole crew was just using that as like a cool down zone. So it's pretty cool. You could spray water on it. I didn't see it have any effect on it. Looked really, like I said, it worked really great for all day. So this is one of the things, like when you guys are out in the heat and stuff, I would recommend this 100%. I know that DeWalt makes one, but I don't know if DeWalt makes one that is this compact, this portable, and this versatile. They actually make I think it's a 5 amp hour battery that you could throw on there, and it'll just last like you wouldn't believe. So pretty cool. I'm actually getting impressed with the M12 series of DeWalt or of Milwaukee, and I think Milwaukee's like coming up with that M12 series, and I think it's really more compact and just like easier to use and everything. So shout out to you, Daniel. I'm going back to red a little bit, so I'm kind of a red guy now. I like, there's a lot of red things I like over there on the Milwaukee side, so this is one of them. And like I say, I will recommend it to people that want to cool off. My apprentice is like, here, put it over here, and then you could cool off. And then I was like, don't do that. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, yeah, that's all right.
All right.
It's cool.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap 2 more up because people are falling
All right.
off now. It's almost at the 2-hour mark. So we'll do man versus machine.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
So I do want to give a big shout out to all the people that participate with our podcast and everything. And this one is, I know this is easy for you, super easy for you, but I want to kind of try to trick AI a little bit. But I knew this was easy for you.
Yeah, that'll be B100, and it's 518.1.
Yep. But I want to see, like, hey, I know you'll just know this off the top of your head, but for some reason, I want to kind of go into ChatGPT getting confused a little bit by multiple choice. Like, I'm expecting ChatGPT to get it right, but I don't know for sure. Like, so we could do it really fast, you know, and
let's see what it says. Oh, got it.
Nice.
Yeah, it got the.
I knew it.
Exactly the section and everything, so we don't have to do anything.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show, like, hey, easy question, easy answer, whatever. But at the same time, that's something that is a good exam question to where when they ask that, you know right where to go and you know right the number, whatever. Because what happens a lot of times with these code questions is people try to guess. Mm-hmm. That's your first instinct is to guess. And so that's what I try to do is, like, look it up, 518, you don't have to guess. So
well, we're making ChatGPT smarter too.
Yeah, we are.
100%.
All right.
Wall of shame. Let's wrap her up.
Shame. 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 Shame.
I do not want to show up as a service electrician and just instantly see this. Like, I'm just like, whoa. Like, instantly when I pull up, I'm like, what? Like,
wow,
what
that's
am I
all
going
in
to
front
do?
of the panel boards.
Yeah, like.
Okay, what? I see what's going. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. To me personally, like, I would be mad if I saw this, you know, because.
Wow.
You know that if you have a problem with that, like, what are you going to do? Like, and
ain't nothing you can do.
Thanks so much, Carson Taylor, for posting this over on the Wall of Shame group. But
that's unbelievable.
You know,
but it just goes to show you there's stuff like that everywhere.
Yeah. See it all the time. Thanks everyone so much for all the participation. Means a lot with Nat King Code. King James's code coming out. Code publication coming out. It means a lot. Like I say, it's going to be the best illustrated code change publication that is on the market, and I guarantee I will troll it and make sure that there's, like, I emphasize a few more mistakes, you know. But
you're going to be so impressed with this publication. Dad thinks it's the best one we've ever done.
Dude, thanks so much, John, dude. John's the man, dude. So
appreciate it. And we agree.
I wish I could be out there working with you, John. Yeah. Dude, I can't wait to watch with you, John, every Thursday, bro, man. Dude, awesome, man. It's so cool how guys like John, he's still hanging in here. We still have 3 people hanging in there.
Yeah, and
Thanks so
everybody
much.
make sure to share the podcast everywhere. Especially this episode. We share this because this really shows a lot about what's going on.
And we're taking out NFPA. We're working with NFPA to make the code not so stupid. You know, so like if NFPA wants to make it dumb, that's cool. NFPA can do that. But I want the code to be legit. And that's my whole passion. Like everyone's like, oh, like Ryan Jackson's on that screenshot. Oh, Bill's screwing up the code. Dude, if I'm screwing up the code, then you know what I mean? Like, they actually said in the substantiation for your public comment, my public comment, everyone's public comment, there's like 11 public comments in there that the code has been revised for safety of installation. Mm-hmm. So, I appreciate it. I know your dad's going like this, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, he's ready to go eat.
All right. Well, that's so awesome. Make sure and give him my customary hello.
Oh, you know I will.
All right, sir. Well, let's go ahead and sign off. And as everyone knows, make every day an easy day. Go Broncos.
Hook 'em horns, baby. I'm so ready for football season.
I'll give you a hook of horns and go Broncos.
All right, everybody have a good weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.
Nice,
Peace
sir.
out.